Hi, welcome back to The Sun.
And Venus.
Well, this is crazy. It's been a crazy, 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's been a good 2 weeks though. A lot of learning, lots of fucking learning, and lots of shedding. It was a crazy full moon eclipse, bro. It was a crazy full moon. But you know what? We survived. We survived.
Yeah.
We survived.
Yeah.
But thank you, guys. I want to say thank you for listening, for sharing our podcast and our posts. We love you guys so much for all your love and support and awesome
Even
love.
for the people who aren't mothers and y'all listened.
We appreciate you
very much.
But yeah, we have more to talk about, right? So today's topic is about a little bit of a spiritual walk. Our title is
The Fool's Testimony.
The Fool's Testimony.
What that is?
Yeah, well, like when we started talking, I'm gonna stand up real quick. You can't see me, but I'm gonna stand up real quick. Yeah, so when we started talking about, what are we gonna segue into? What do we want to talk about? We're like, let's get into the meat of it, right? How do we get here? How are you a Catholic?
No.
And how are you a witch?
Yes. Like, what happened? What happened to you?
What happened to you? Well, just a little bit before we get into that, right?
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, we wanted to, before we talk, the voicemails. Guys, the voicemails. We want you to talk to us. We love you.
Yeah, we could do voicemails or emails, actually. I know that we had said that in our trailer. We said that in our trailer.
We mentioned the voicemails quite a bit.
we were really trying to say, like, come on, like, get interactive with us.
Ask us questions.
Ask us the hard questions. Ask us the easy questions. Ask us funny questions. Ask us whatever you want.
Yeah, and just, I guess, like, an example would be, like, I don't know. You think I don't know, like anything, really anything. What is something you've been curious about? Like, a lot of people are like, hey, what are crystals? Or hey, what's with the moon? What's with the phases? What does that mean, right? Like,
yeah.
And
well, we're just gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that for sure. What else?
Yeah, just questions that you might have. So yeah, definitely please try to, as much as you can, interact with us. We're interested in who's listening and what you guys are thinking, right? And so yeah,
like, not just what do you want to hear next, just more so if you want to know more about us, if you want to know anything about us, just not our social security number, that'd be nice.
Yeah, all those numbers are on lock, so
yeah. I don't even know mine.
So yeah, when we were kind of
like
when we were talking about, what we wanted to segue into, I was talking, we were like, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to name it? Like, it's always the thing. Like, we always think of a title first and try to throw some meat around it, or opposite, right? But the Fool, the tarot of the Fool, I'm going to show you, those who are watching, what the Fool is. And the Fool in tarot, he represents, or they represent, it's not really gender specific, but they represent, and bring a giant flood of energy to do and to come out of your shell and shed, the things that you've done and been through emotionally, leave things behind. He also has like if you look here, he has like a little suitcase and a baggage it has a little heart on it. And he's, taking a journey, taking a step out of his like casket, dying to himself in a sense, and walking into a new journey. And with that can bring a lot of illuminated, intuition and like knowing what you want to do next, having an idea of where you want to go, kind of like us, right? Like, what are we going to name it? And so like bringing all of that flood without any awareness of your past or the things that you need or have to leave behind can bring about total chaos to an outcome if you're not cautious with your journey. And so the best advice is to live, and he also has like a little butterfly in his finger, if you can see that. Oh, it's so cute. So it's a nice little butterfly, and it's like to live beautifully and remember that the butterfly sheds and dies and relives again, and so that's so beautiful. And that's so similar and so beautiful and parallel to the Fool's journey, the Fool's testimony, right? Because what was your journey? What was your testimony? What was it that you went through?
So that's why we had put the Fool first, and then testimony was after, because
testify, girls.
Because as a Christian, that's what we do. I'm testifying. I mean, I'm gonna give my testimony. Like, I mean, I'm not right now. Trust me. You don't want to go through that with me right now. But but we will. Like, it's just that's our journey. Like, as a Christian, you say, yeah, that's my testimony. You get what I'm saying? So like, oh, that's your journey. That's what your walk with God was like. You get what I'm saying?
That's
so
how you're here today.
Put those two together, and we got the full testimony.
Beautiful.
That's how we became the. Man, we're just so excited about this.
Yeah.
we're like, man, we just found a title.
You know, so much stronger than that. I feel like it's like we're not just coming to a parallel or standing in comparison. We're standing together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're standing together in a place where it's supported, and again, just so much love, because that's what it's about, man. That's what it's about.
It is.
Yep.
Well, that's all. I mean, that's all it's about ever. Well, for me at least.
So the full testimony, yeah. Love.
So what else do we want to go over? I think that's really it. Yeah. So you want to go ahead and how are we gonna start this, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I think a lot of where it started was just trying to find some, grasp. And I think I might have said this before, but it was like more of having this crazy feeling inside of me, even as a little girl, that there was something that I needed to search for that was bigger than me.
And
like,
this is your
higher
beginning.
than me.
This is the beginning of your spiritual journey.
Yeah. If I can say that's the earliest memory, like that's the earliest time I would do that. And then I got older and I really wanted to go to teen places with interact with other teens at, youth places, youth conventions. I think the first youth convention was like my first concert, and I went to go see Casting Crowns. Girl, yes. And they
lucky you.
They put on such a beautiful show, though. It's an entire experience. But aside from that, right? I think the earliest one I was like 11, and I drove with like my church group that we were going to, my mom and stuff. They always took us to church, my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Not just my grandparents, but my mom. They always went, and so it was just a big part of it. And she let me go like at 11 or 12, and the school, the church drove us all the way to Dallas for this concert, because they raised money, and they're like, yeah, come along. And we drove. Girl, I was so small. That's crazy, right? But I went, and it was so much fun, and finding like a lot of connection with other people that also believed what I was believing in, because it just always was aware to me that there was something bigger than me. And as an adult, I converted to Catholicism. I chose it when I was like, my path started like at 15, I guess, if you could put a number on it. And like, I was there, I became a full like Catholic by the time I was 25. And I say that in the sense that I was like confirmed at 24 and then left the church the following year. Crazy, right? Yeah. But leaving was a big part for me, because I was super invested, like super, super invested. I had a lot of my identity was, I'm a Catholic, I am a Christian, this is what I do. And this is what fuels me outside of work. Work is not my identity. It never has been. But yeah, it was crazy when it wasn't like a big blow up. It was just a big emotional wave, because it was something I was so deeply, I had really been that person for so long that it was going to be tough for me to shed it with a lot of people around me. And I found myself like, no, I don't really do that anymore. And they're like, whoa, what? That's crazy. Like, it's kind of a shock that I don't. But and then when I tell them what I do now, they really freak the fuck out, because they're like, how did you go from being a Catholic adult that you chose to do this, and now you're a witch? Like, what happened? Right? Nothing happened. Nothing terrible happened to me. My view about the world and the collective belief at large has just changed so much. Yeah, big breath. Yeah, it just I started to view things in a very different way, because the method that I was practicing, that I had invested so much in, was not working for me anymore. Yeah, I hit a place where like going to church became very mundane. It became very like, fuck, I gotta go now, and I was getting these terrible panic attacks every time it was time to get up for church. And I was like clinging to my fucking bed, like shaking, not wanting to go. And it took some time away from me, and I had to go and battle all these really crazy things within myself. And when I say that, is that I had to come to a lot of awareness of the things that were pushing me into, you know, abusing alcohol, abusing substances, abusing my body, myself, you know, not honoring who I was as a person, and in short, cutting myself down and compromising my boundaries, my beliefs, my the things that just bugged me, that stayed under my skin and turned into like snares of jealousy or snares of envy or snares of like.
And that was in the church, is what you're saying?
No, not in the church. Just the people around me.
Oh,
yeah, the people around me that also believed in what I believed. And so like I was starting to see all these like plot holes. Does that make sense? Started seeing all these plot holes about where my journey was and what my practice was doing for me. Right? So being a Catholic was not a practice that was started. It didn't work for me anymore. It wasn't something that I could connect to with spirit and ultimately, you know, creator, the universe at large. The source that fueled me at that time was God. And what, you know, who the Catholic Church says God is, and their belief system in that. It started to like, it just started to hit a wall for me where it was like, yo, confession's not doing this. Why the fuck am I panicking like this? And it was like, no, you just got to take meds. Like that's, the church says that's cool. Right. And that was just the advice that was given to me. Right. And, the practice and the people that I was seeking for guidance weren't fueling me anymore. And I was pushing them. Like I was pushing them where they're like, fuck, I don't got an answer for that. Right. And, there was no support there anymore. And so I had to go looking for it. And in that journey, I ultimately found it in myself. And my biggest belief, and I don't like subscribe to any specific, like, oh, I'm a Luciferian, oh, I'm a Satanist. Like I believe and I really take from all walks and places of belief system that just align with me and my spirit and who my intuition tells me that I am. Because that's how I've been able to live my most authentic self and be my most happiest. And it's not a fucking reason to go and like, you know, do whatever I want and say whatever I want and do whatever I want.
So being a witch, it doesn't have anything to do with what you believe. It's just what
you feel. What you feel, you know, and honestly stepping into your own power and your own will and understanding that your will is something that is granted to you as all of us as humans, as light sources who have developed into this material plane, right? Into this world, all of us. Because if, you know, really think about it, if we're the only fucking human life, then we're the only human life. And that's it. Right? And so if there is anything above, if there is a source above, and I believe that there is, it's not just this, or, you know, it's not just a God, one, it's many, it's all of us. So honoring thy God self, knowing thyself to honor thyself, and living that most authentic truth without judgment of anybody or anybody else. Because I don't care that you're Catholic. I love you. Mm-hmm. And I have to accept those things about you if I would like to have access to your love.
Yeah.
Right? Ooh, girl. It got deep. So now I use methods of, and people think witchcraft, ooh, you know, ooh, jars, ooh, she's gonna, you know, blah, 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 right? I'm gonna, I don't know, whatever the fuck you think. Whatever the fuck you think witches do. One thing I use for connection to help my intentions ease, and for anxiety specifically, right? Like, just because that's what came up. This was one of my biggest hurdles that nobody could help me past, other than drugs. And I was not gonna take fucking drugs. Like, I've known from my beginning of my life, I was not going to do drugs to fucking do this. I believed that my God could do it from the beginning. And now it's like, no, I believe that I can do it because I honor my goddess in myself, because I have the power to do it. That fear, that impending fucking fear that I didn't know where it was coming from, I know where the fuck it's coming from now. I know where it's coming from now, and it's something I've had to sit with, and it's not, and we've talked about this in one of our last episodes, sitting with your shadow, sitting with that work, and instead of going to somebody and saying, absolve me of this terrible fucking thing that is burdening me, they can't take it from you if you're not willing to sit with it. Now he's going to give you the prayer that he thinks you need and help you in that way energetically. And that's beautiful. But if you're not willing to do the work, you can't just keep going to confession for those things and wishing them away. So I had to sit with my shadow. I had to figure out why my fear was so out of fucking control and it was taking over my body. I had to sit with my body and my mind and my spirit. I had to sit with all of it to find this illuminating point where it's like, this is what I do. So when it comes to magic and witchcraft, these elements that have been given to us by God, by Creator, that have been given to us by Source, wherever, whoever that may be, it's given to us to use. Now we use medicine. Medicine is derived of plants before medicine became medicine today. So I use plants in that way. I used to take St. John's wort that you can get at HEB or Walmart, and that helped me to help my mood and stabilize my mood. That herb is very good for anybody who is dealing with depression or anxiety. I started there, and it's like, let's go deeper. I'm going to start taking teas. And this was before I was a witch. I was still a Catholic when I was doing this. I would take teas to feel better. And now I still take teas, but I enchant them for me. I enchant them. I speak over them. And there's a whole process behind the science of being able to speak over water, just like the way priests do in holy water, that makes it holy. Because you say so, and so it is, and so mote it be. Because I do, and because I honor the fuck out of everything, and I try to have the most immense attitude and gratitude for everything and anything that comes my way, good and not so good. And so that's really all it is. And I had to learn how to change my fucking thoughts around the self-deprecation, because it was a big part of why I was so fucking anxious. Being so fucking nervous of what everyone was thinking about me was a big part of that too. And so, now I stand firm in my fucking power, and I don't let no one fuck with me. I also don't let anybody absolve me of my fucking shadow, because one, it's mine to integrate. It's mine to learn from. There's times it's still going to come out, and I'm going to figure out why the fuck it needs to come out and where I need to grow and learn from that. And I use pretty candles and pretty fucking jars, and I make love spells for myself only. But I do honor myself in that way. I do better at doing that. And I realize now I love Catholicism so much for the every week ritual, because it's a fucking ritual every week. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I don't shit on it. Like I still have all my sacraments, right? I didn't like get rid of them or anything. It's like they're there forever. They're there forever. I still honor that. But I was half expecting me to get some fucking awesome superpower when the Archbishop touched me, and I was fucking mad.
Okay, ego. Anyway,
I do love the ritual though, because it was sacred. There was holy oil. That's also a natural element. And there's many beautiful elements of those rituals, those moments of sacrament. They're very beautiful.
Very.
Yeah. But what? Okay, so
shut
the fuck up, Sophie.
So that was your journey, and that was beautiful.
Thanks, man.
Well, I mean, it's still a journey that's happening, just like now.
Yeah.
It's up till now, right? Like up to now. So
yeah.
I guess now we'll go ahead and have a word from our sponsor really quickly. And we are back. All right.
Where we left off, right?
Was with Sophie's a little testimony journey. Her full.
So now let's talk about you, bestie. Yeah. So tell me about your full testimony.
Okay, so for me, I guess I was just born into being Catholic, so that's why I'm here. I'm just kidding. It was not that easy. Okay, so I guess really like the only thing I knew about the church when I was younger, or like the first memories of church, was always going to like funerals and and holidays. We were holiday Catholics. Of course, that's how it is sometimes when growing up in a Catholic household. We get tired, I guess, or lazy, we fall back. Either way, whatever happened, that's my first recollection of being in a church or being at church. I would always go with my grandma Tony. I just remember her always taking me to church and, the bar every now and then. But, but whatever. That's where it started. I guess you could say that I started getting into church when I was in high school a lot with, well, not in high school. I was actually in middle school, and my sister Sabrina was in high school. So she was the one who was going to like Acts retreats. That's what the Catholic Church has, or Acts retreats, and that's how I found out more about my faith. And I always saw her going on them. Like I saw her go on 2 of them,
Mm-hmm.
and she was just so excited about it, and I was like, I want to do it.
And like that phrase that they use, that what is it? They come back on fire, on fire with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
After retreats.
There you go. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, you're right.
That's a good description of it.
Yes. Yeah, it was nice. It was really nice that I'm not saying like all I remember was her being with friends. Like, you know what I mean? Like having people to be with and sharing that moment. And I was like, man, they're taking away my sister and my mom and dad. That's how I met Sofi. Like I met her through my sister.
We were
going on Acts retreats, and
we were like young adults though when we met.
For them?
Yeah, me and Sabrina were young adults when we first met.
Oh, okay. So that was later on. I didn't know that. But either way, I remember my parents always doing it too, and this was for sure like the most. I felt like was the most Catholic thing I can do was go on retreats.
Your Catholic duty.
Whatever, doing it for God. No, but
it feels good though. It feels good to feel so young and have a purpose.
Yes, it does feel good. Like if I go back to my little Gabbi self there, like I'm like, I see why you do it. I see why you're doing this. I see why you're doing this. You really wanted someone to be there for you. You really wanted that, and that's why you're doing it. You just want to have
maybe
that.
Just to like see you for you.
Yeah, not just that either. Just more so like, okay, honestly, just talk about my problems and feel bad for me because I'm like, I'm the only one feeling bad for myself, and you're not supposed to feel bad for yourself, but still, again, little Gabbi, and I just want to hug her and be like, trust me, there's more to come,
Yeah.
Like, and so I just my parents are actually separated, right? So my mom is Catholic and our side is Catholic. My dad, no, very much not Catholic. He is non-denominational, and he's a Christian non-denominational. And I remember leaving my mom's house at the age of 18, going to live with my dad, and he brought me to the non-denominational church.
How'd you like that?
It was
different.
It wasn't different. I mean, kind of. Okay, so the difference is that I feel like I'm retreat.
Yeah, all the time.
Every time. That's it. Like it's just excitement.
It's way more interactive, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like the Catholic Church is very like this age.
The Catholic Church is adoration. That's what the Catholic Church is.
Oh, okay.
That's how I see it. I mean, that's what it is, because as being that I was able to go the non-denominational way and being a Catholic, seeing those two, I remember being non-denominational. Yeah, it's fun. People, this, that, whatever. Excited. I was like, I always feel like I'm on retreats. And living with my dad, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like learning this with him. I even gave my life to Jesus in that church as well, and then I came back to the church.
That's so cool. I don't want to, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
That's super cool because I got baptized in a Baptist church too.
What?
I'm double baptized too.
No, I wasn't double baptized, girl.
Oh, okay,
I get
what
was it? I forgot what it's called. And I made a big deal. I remember it was 4/22. 22. 4/20. For 2. It was 4/22. 2015, I think. I remember. And it was just so crazy. I gave my life to Jesus. That's all it was. It wasn't.
Yeah, you like promised.
I don't remember. But either way, it was really big for me. And then I was like, I came back to the Catholic Church. I'm like, I don't think I'm Catholic anymore. I remember coming back to San Antonio and being like, I don't think I'm Catholic anymore. And oh man, and you know who told me? It was don't cry, yeah. It's a man from church.
I'm gonna call him Pancho.
At my school, at my church, and he said, I told him, I don't think I'm a Catholic anymore. And he said, I can't wait for you to come back home.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I know. So
that's so
I was
just
like,
cute.
I was like,
that's
okay,
really
like And at first I thought he meant like home, like because I was out of town and I came back to San Antonio.
Yeah. You didn't like understand the gravity of what he meant yet.
And so then I kind of just slipped away from the church. And when I was pregnant with my daughter, and once I had her, I wanted to bring. I was so grateful to God for my daughter. Like I was so grateful. Like he had brought this beautiful, beautiful baby in my life, and I never thought I deserved anything like that. You know what I mean? Like it was just more like, thank you for blessing me with this and with this beautiful person, and how I wanted to do better for her. You know, how I wanted to be better for her, and wanted to change my life to where it's like, God, I want you to be first, because I can't do this by myself. You know, I'm being a single mom. That's what I was. Like as soon as she came out of me.
Shout out single mom.
Yes, that was me.
Shout out motherhood.
So I just remember thinking like, I need to be better for her, and I know I can't do this by myself, and God's the only person he's my dad. He's my dad. He's gonna help me love her. And it's just something that he helped me with. And it was hard though. I was still, you know, in my phase of trying to battle that, and that like battle the fact that, what do I do? What do I do? Where do I go? And I remember, and baby was only like a month, not even like a couple weeks, and I went to a young adult retreat.
Oh man, she was that small.
She was literally, I was pumping at the retreat, and they would give it to my mom. Like they would go pick it up. Yeah, I was that small.
That is so cute.
And I just knew, because I had been in this terrible, terrible relationship with, you know, sperm donor. It was just something I felt like I really needed. And you remember my dad just saying, like, my stepdad, he said, I just need you to go. I need you to go.
Yeah.
I need you to go. After he knew everything I went through, like, he was like, I need you to go with your sisters. And both my sisters, Sabrina and Priscilla, were there. So we all just experienced everything together. I finally came out to my family about what happened to me in my abusive relationship on the retreat.
Whoa.
So it was hard, and they just found out that way. And
whoa, God. Yeah,
I hit them hard. And it was just because I remember, you know, them saying, why didn't you tell us? And I'm like, I didn't want to bring you that. That was my fault. You know, like being in that victim mindset, it's like, no, that's my fault. I can get myself out. You get what I'm saying? So either way, that's where I went back to the church. And
well, you realized you had support.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was just so beautiful. And I remember going to church and thinking, there's a part in there that I see Mother Mary in one of this, you know, scenarios. I can't even say, I don't want to say it because I'm not supposed to. I don't want to go ahead and air that out.
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
I know that I can imagine how that hit you that night.
Mother Mary, and I'm just like, I could never give up my daughter like that. The way she did for, like, she just
so selflessly,
peacefully mourned his life. And I just, it hurts me to even, not my baby. You know what I mean? Like, not my baby. I couldn't do that. And we are back. Sorry about that. Had to do some mom duties per usual. I'm just gonna go ahead and where I left off. I believe it was whenever I got off a retreat, I wanted better for my daughter. And so he was there to help me while I was being a single mom. And that was tough.
Like learning to like relinquish that control.
Yeah. Like, well, not just that, just okay, so that lesson, and when I had the baby, was, I need your help, God. I need your help, right? It hadn't come to allowing him to have the control over my life until later. And that, I'm gonna get to that right now, actually. So being a single mom, it was just more so, I had always been looking for love, right? Like, I've always been looking for love since I was little. Like, I've always been looking for someone to love me in such a beautiful way. And it was hard, you know. Gotta kiss a lot of toads for that. And
that's great.
I mean, it's true. And at the same time, it's more so, I had found, out of everything, I found my one and only, of course, my honey. I know I talked about him the last time, how he helps out with baby a lot.
She's in love, y'all.
Yeah, I love that man. Anyway, he, At first, it was just kind of like too good to be true, like how sweet he was and how like open he was to baby being in his life with me, like if he wanted to date me. Of course, the whole story behind that, we can go into that later. Maybe we can talk about our spouses later. but I saw him and I was like, I want to be with him. I want to be with him. And so then kind of went off of that. And during that beautiful first year, we had broken up. And we had broken up because I knew who God was. He was learning who God was. And he felt like I wasn't loving him correctly. And sorry to air everything out, babe, but this is my story. This is how and it hurt me. I mean, it broke me because I knew that was the person that I wanted to end up with, like married, you know what I mean? And I was like, but you know what? This right here was the biggest thing that changed everything. Like the reason who I am today is because of this. It really humbled me. It really made me who giving my control to God was, because I saw him and I was like, there's no way he's leaving. Like, there's no way. Like, there's no way. There's no
way that's it.
Yeah, no, that wasn't the end.
Yeah,
that wasn't the end. It wasn't the end, and I knew it. But I knew.
But wait, there's more.
And yeah, really. And so I remember yelling at God. Right? I remember yelling at him, being like, "Why are you doing this? Like, why are you doing this to me?" And then I kept telling myself, but I'm fighting myself, saying, "No, it's gonna be okay. It's for a reason, right?" And everyone always says that. Everyone always says it through struggle. As Christians, that's what we say. And through this, I had my grandma to help me. My grandma, I'd go to her house all the time, and almost every Sunday, right? Because I went to church after the breakup. I went to church every Sunday because I needed God. I needed him to tell me and help me. And through that, each week, actually, I learned a lesson. Each week. I remember thinking, this first week is love. And then the next week I remember, oh God, like, is this week about, like, what is it, like, control? Or is this week about, like, it was every week I started to build this conversation with God. And I remember always telling people, no, God's my friend. Like, you know, like, God's my friend. He's my dad, but he's my friend. Like, I talk to him like my friend. I'll talk to him like, well, you made me this way, or, you know, like, that's
what I used to say when people would try to check me about cussing. I'm like, he knows what he did.
I know, literally, that's how I'm like, didn't you make me this way?
I'm hilarious.
No, but most of the time I would talk to him in the car, and then I would go to the oblate. The oblate. Oh man.
It's a cool church.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful garden. And that's where I would that's where I would pray a lot, and pray and meditate and be there with our mother and God and Jesus. And I said, just be with me. And in this chaos I thought was like the end of the world, I felt so comforted by him. I knew it's going to be okay, because I remember thinking, I'm giving him to you, God. I give him to you. And my grandma helped me say that. And she was like, it's not going to be quick or easy. It's going to be an everyday thing that you have to do. Everyday thing, you give that person up, because he isn't yours. He's not mine.
Yeah, I heard this really beautiful thing. I can't recall where the source was, but it basically says that you can never possess love. You can only experience it. And so, like, nurturing that experience is what makes it last, right? And so forth.
Yeah. We're being in a relationship is work. Being in a marriage is work too. But either way, all that. I remember being with God every single day. Not one day went by. Actually, multiple days went by when I was like, I'm gonna give up. I remember yelling at the top of my lungs, saying, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. Whoa. I'm tired of this. I don't trust you. I'm sorry, God. Oh, man. And I remember yelling that at him. And that day I went to work, because we still work together, me and my honey, while we were broken up, right? That day at work, he brought me, I don't know where, we hadn't talked. He brought me seeds, sunflower seeds, because he knows I love sunflower seeds. And he brought me those, and he's like, here you go. I knew in that moment he still loved me.
Oh, that's...
And after I just told God how
metaphor,
much,
though,
like,
the metaphor behind that
is
like,
planting the seed. I know!
That's super cute. Dang.
Anyway, so...
Bring it back home. I love it.
I was just gonna no. I did give him, like I said, I gave him up to God, and that's what happened. And yes, so getting that seed, that was a planting the seed. I also, me and my mom talked about that too, and she was like,
Cute.
planting the
really
seed,
cute.
and then I didn't hear from him for a while. I just kept giving him to God. I still knew. I told God every day, I'm in love with this man, but I know it's up to you. It's up to you. I give
Right.
my heart to you. I give my heart to you, and I give him to you because
Mhm.
I have no control over anything.
Right.
You take everything. And from then on, everything fell into place. Like everything. It was so beautiful. So beautiful because I was like,
it's crazy, right?
it's just
Like
not
once
me.
you realize like not wanting control means not understanding that you don't have control.
I don't.
You right?
Of
like
anything.
You just have to trust that all the good effort that you've put in will come back.
No, not even that. That's the thing. It's love from God isn't it isn't like that. It's more. It's there's no limit. There's no like, well, the good I put in, he's gonna give back. It's he loves you no matter what, how much good or bad you put in. You get what I'm saying? Like no matter how much good or bad you put in your life, he loves you completely. And it's just so hard because everyone sees the bad in the world and everything that we represent as Catholics. Of being a Catholic, all I ever hear is the church is bad. The church is bad, and I'm not gonna lie, like that's what it is, and it hurts me, because I know the church does have snakes, like in that reference, right? Like in that reference of being biblically correct, I guess, right? It has that, and it just hurts me. Like there's so much.
You see the parts of it that have been you've seen the fruits of what can happen.
Yes, I haven't seen them. You've
witnessed them.
Yeah.
This is the testimony to them, right?
Yeah, my testimony.
Yeah,
and it's literally just giving everything to him and letting him do his work, because it's so hard to give up that control, though. Like that's all we ever want in life.
And when I say like the good that you've put in, I mean in the sense that you've done the work to understand, right? Like you've done the work to understand what it means to relinquish that control in that way. And I should have said that instead of the good, because
I'm gonna,
there is a putting good and not so good next to each other always has a comparison, right? But that's not that's what I meant.
Okay,
the good not so good, that means that there's not a not so good when it comes to it, right? But what you were saying though is that God loves you no matter what, like the good or the bad that you've done or been through.
And you're just saying,
I was alluding to that you put in the work to understand no matter what happens and no matter what life you've led, right? Mm-hmm. You know that there's
at the end he's gonna love me no matter what.
You understand that about your relationship.
It's just so like, it's so limitless, I guess his love is, and it's just so much that we can get into more and more. It's just so much deeper. And I love it. I love talking about him because I've been through it, I've been through it. I will always, I know my God's there. You know what I mean? Like I know my God's there, and I know it comes down back to us. I guess you could say let's bring this back together, kind of thing. It's hard when people are like, well, how is she your friend? And I've already heard more so like, you're not supposed to hang out with those people. And I'm like, okay.
What I've come to understand, and like, in the time that I spent becoming a Catholic, because it was a cognitive understanding. I wasn't like a kid who was pushed through CCD or catechism. I was cognitively aware of what I was learning. And so like the goal ultimately is to live Christ-like, to live the way Christ did, right? And that meant in his words, the only words that are written that were written in the Bible that were his words are comprised of 4 books in that entire book that has millions of fucking books, right? And so those 4 books are his words, and his words only spoke of love. His words only spoke of understanding. His words only spoke of charity and humanitarianism and ultimately love. Like, and I think I've said this before, like understanding that, Jesus, I have a different understanding of who he was. I do believe he existed. I do believe he was an entity sent from another source to our world to teach our human race, our humans in the world that he touched, to love one another and to stop living the way that they were living, judging each other, hurting each other, taking each other's money, living or creating a world of fucking chaos. And it was just, he came and it just wasn't his time to live. It wasn't his time for that message to be received. And he was put through this terrible fucking there was the word, the crucifixion, but I mean it in the sense of like this terrible trial where he had no fucking control for loving people and sitting with people that was not okay in that society, in that time and place, in this world.
Yep, mine's just
right. And so what I took from that was that love is the ultimate force, and if he can sit with what the Bible depicts as, prostitutes, tax collectors, people that lawyers
are shunned
or just like cast out of society, and what is that today? Witches. And why witch, right? And I say I am a witch because this is a word that would have gotten me fucking killed centuries ago. And I say it proudly, I say it loudly, because women were killed for fucking bleeding once a month, something they had no control over. Women were fucking murdered for just being women.
Sorry, I was just laughing because I was thinking like they're getting killed for like doing math.
Yeah, facts.
Reading books.
And it's like things that should elevate us, and that we should all be doing equally, right? And it's and that's why I say it, because it's why the fuck not?
Because it's scaring.
Yeah, and it forces you to push your mind. Actually, it forces you to ask, why do you say that? Why do you say that about yourself?
Oh, and then you get into a conversation. Mm-hmm. How beautiful is that? Like, oh man, I love. Okay, so like I said, I hate people see as Catholics are like evil and everything. Yeah. Like, I've heard, Catholics are only drunks. I've heard Catholics
are they only go there to be absolved.
They only hurt kids, and I hate
the stigma and connotation behind it is fucked.
It's so terrible. Again, back to my grandma really quickly. She has always told me that the church is the most attacked because it has Jesus in it. Because we hold Jesus in the Eucharist. That's why. Because that's the flesh. I'm just letting you know. That's what my grandma said.
And if it wasn't such a widely accepted faith, I think hearing the words, you're going to eat someone's flesh, would freak you the fuck out. Period. Like, in any context, the words eat flesh sound terrible. Right? And in this setting, it's revered as like, honorable. And I truly believe in speaking over, anything and saying, and so it is, because that is what I believe. Like, my friend says, you could, you don't have to use sage. You could sage your fucking home with a Cheeto if you want. And it's true, because if I say this Cheeto is now blessed, I believe that it is. I believe in the whole, blessing your house with a Cheeto, and that belief comes from not just speaking over things, but I was told by a Catholic deacon, thank you, that one time we were like doing holy water on a retreat, and he's like, this is just water, right? Like, almost joking him off, shut up. And he's like, no, really, like, it's just water. It's the belief and the way that the priest speaks over it with intention for it to become holy. And so I took that and I ran with it like the rest of my life. And so later on in my life, I found out that there's an actual like data study about this, where there's this doctor, his name is Dr. Emoto, and you can YouTube it if you want, and he does this like study where he has these bowls of water, labels them with good and not so good content, and it one says I love you, one says I hate you, and he speaks over them. Like, he takes pictures of all the water before he speaks over them, and he takes pictures with like a microscopic camera of the molecules in the water and what they look like, and they're all pretty similar in the beginning, and then after he speaks over them, they change. Like, the ones that had negative words on them, they looked like slime, they looked gross, they're like boogers, and then the ones that had positive like words over them look like fucking snowflakes and icicles, and it just looks so beautiful. The molecules had physically changed at that point because of what he said and did over them. It's the same thing with plants. There was another study done with plants where they took thermal sensory over the plants and had someone go in, rip the plant out, and like throw it on the floor violently, and when you could see the change in the thermal camera when the person left and when they came back into the room after the act.
Oh, really?
Right. So like this is why I'm like, yes, with the fucking Cheeto, I can totally do that.
Oh my
So it's so
gosh.
much deeper than that. It's science, it's belief, it's intention, it's quantum motherfucking physics. Like it's a real thing. It's being able to, understand that we all have the power to manipulate and change that energy, and not just plants and water, but ourselves.
Oh yeah, we can change ourselves all the time.
Right.
Everyone is subject to change. Always.
Yeah, so constantly crystallize and change and die to yourself. Guys.
Especially for the people who are like, well, this is just how I am. I'm not going to change.
Good luck with that. Let us know how that goes.
Sorry. If you want to stay in that area, I'm so sorry for you. There's so much more to be out there that you can learn, I promise.
Right.
Either way, that's where our spirituality really just sent us. Just how we can connect and communicate, just the way I said, how the bread is life and flesh, and she continued to show us
and prove
right? show us just prove that it is. How we connect our beliefs together, or understand like this is how we see it and this is how they see it. Like it's correlating with each other. You know what I mean? And that's how we became the friends we are today. That's how we became the light. That's just how we became the light for each other.
And
just
thanks for standing with me in my chrysalis moment, because a lot of people would have been super judgmental and not have, like, as you so beautifully said it, like still see the light in each other, and I see it as a point of like standing together in our power instead of pulling each other down and saying you're right, you're wrong, because that's what it's about, That's what I feel like that's what it's about.
And even at that too, like even if you're sitting with you, like let's say you feel that I'm wrong, or if I feel you're wrong, we're still sitting with each other, knowing that one day we'll become one. Like,
or we'll find an understanding.
We're all growing, and and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
So of course, thank you for joining us one last time. Sorry for all the breaks. Again, mom stuff.
You know the deal.
It happens, and just
please don't forget to interact with us through voicemail,
social media. You can comment.
And our email, that's the sun and Venus 22@gmail.com.
Yes, perfect. the sun, remember, the sun is SON and Venus 22@gmail.com. That's if you want to be anonymous. Send in some questions, send in some ideas, send in whatever you want, even if you just feel like you want to vent to us.
Let us know you want to be anonymous too.
Here.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And next, hope we'll hear from us back here. Say it again. You will hear back from us in about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So please tune in again.
Yes.
And thanks so much for listening
to the Sun
and Venus.
Bye.
Bye.
Red leather, feather. Okay, red leather, yellow leather.
It's red feather, yellow leather. Wait.
No, it's red leather, yellow leather.
Red feather, yellow leather.
No.
I was taught red feather, yellow leather.
Layer.
Red
leather. No, I remember it was red leather, yellow leather. Because I remember thinking a red leather jacket and a yellow leather jacket. That's how I remembered it. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. See?
I remember a feather being in there.
Anyway.
Okay. Welcome back to
the Sun
and Venus.
What are you looking down for, girl?
Girl, look up. Hey, welcome back to
the Sun
and Venus.
You keep looking down. We gotta look up.
I think there's a camera in front of me.
Yes, there's the camera. Okay, let's try it one more time.
Yes, there's a camera.